Prologue: there comes a time in every parent's life when their child inevitably asks for a pet. It's as unavoidable as skinned knees and bedtime negotiations. Most parents get off easy. Their kids want hamsters that roll around in plastic balls or cats that sleep 20 hours a day. Maybe, if they're ambitious, a puppy that chews a few shoes before learning to fetch slippers. Quinn wasn't that lucky. Her 10-year-old son wanted a wolf, not a dog that looked like a wolf, not a hybrid with just enough wild DNA to seem exotic. An actual predatory wolf pup he had somehow coaxed home from the woods behind the playground. She should have said no immediately. What kind of mother lets her child keep an apex predator under their roof, the kind whose son hadn't really smiled in months? What Quinn didn't know as she stared into those hopeful eyes was that the small furry creature curled against her son's chest wasn't just any wolf pup. It was a 9-year-old girl. And somewhere out in the mountains, her father, a powerful alpha whose protective instincts ran as deep as the wilderness itself, had already caught her scent. He was coming, and nothing, not walls, not distance, not 10 years of silence, would stop him from reaching his daughter. Chapter 1. Quinn, please, Mommy, can we keep him? Quinn stared into her son's bright, hopeful eyes as he held the furry little creature tightly to his chest. The pup remained unusually still, watching her with large, pleading amber eyes that seemed far too aware for a wild animal. He's so well behaved, Mom, Jeremy insisted, his voice filled with an enthusiasm she hadn't heard in a long time. Look, he doesn't make any noise and he won't bother the guests at all. Baby, Quinn began, folding her arms across her chest. How do you even know it's a he? Jeremy pouted, the expression making her want to both laugh and sigh at the same time. She had noticed how quiet he had become since they moved to Pine Haven 3 months ago. He never complained about the new school or the lack of friends, but she saw it in the way he spent afternoons alone, the way he didn't talk about his day anymore. Jeremy never asked for much, ever. Plus, if she was honest with herself, she had always wanted a dog too, but this wasn't a dog. Quinn bent down to get a better look at the animal. The pointed muzzle, the thick coat, and those striking wild eyes left no doubt. Where did you find it? She asked gently. In the woods behind the playground, Jeremy replied. He was hurt. See, he carefully showed her the small bandage on the front paw. I used the first aid kit from the bathroom. Oh, sweetie, you can't just bring wild animals home, Quinn said, trying to stay reasonable. They aren't pets. They can carry diseases. I checked for ticks, Jeremy interrupted quickly. Please, Mom, he needs me. The pup whimpered softly and lowered its head, looking up at her with such sorrowful eyes that Quinn felt her resolve cracking. The phone rang sharply from the living room downstairs, breaking the moment. That must be Meg, Quinn muttered. I'll be right back. As she headed toward the stairs of their top-floor apartment, Jeremy called after her. But what about Fangs? You named it Fangs? Quinn turned back with a raised eyebrow. He's got good ones, Jeremy said proudly. Quinn let out a long sigh. It can stay tonight, just tonight. Jeremy's face lit up with pure joy. She made her way down to the main part of the inn, the old Victorian house creaking softly under her feet. The lobby was busy as usual. Meg stood behind the front desk, receiver pressed to her ear, looking harried while clicking through the ancient computer system. Finally, Meg exclaimed when Quinn appeared. There's a double booking mess with room 3 this weekend. Quinn took the phone and smoothly handled the situation, sorting out the confusion with the guests. When she hung up, she eyed the pile of unpaid bills waiting for her attention and rubbed her temples. Now on to my Jeremy crisis, she muttered. What Jeremy crisis? Meg asked, curious. That kid's a saint. Well, the saint brought home a wolf pup, Quinn replied. Meg's eyes widened. A wolf. You can't be serious about letting him keep it. Just for tonight, Quinn defended weakly. Meg's jaw dropped. Wolves are dangerous, Quinn, especially around a child and guests. I know, Quinn sighed, but you should have seen his face. First real smile in months, and with money being so tight, at least the wolf was free. Meg groaned. You're going to let him keep it, aren't you? I haven't decided anything yet, Quinn protested. But deep down, she already knew the truth. That wolf pup was really, really cute, and her son needed someone to make this new life feel less lonely. Chapter 2. Jeremy sat cross-legged on the worn rug in his bedroom, carefully arranging strips of beef jerky in a small pile beside the wolf pup. The old Victorian inn creaked softly around them, the warm glow of the bedside lamp casting long shadows across the walls. It's going to be okay, Jeremy whispered, his voice full of quiet hope. Mom said you can stay for tonight, and once she really gets to know you, she'll let you stay forever. I just know it. The pup tilted its head, amber eyes fixed on Jeremy's face with an intensity that felt almost human. It was a good listener, better than anyone at his new school. No one interrupted or made fun of his glasses here. You're a really good listener, Jeremy said with a small smile. It's nice having someone to talk to. Suddenly, the pup let out a high-pitched yelp, a sound that seemed strangely human, and bolted across the room, diving straight into Jeremy's closet. The door swung shut behind it with a soft thud. Fangs, Jeremy stood up, heart pounding with confusion. Strange rustling and thumping noises came from inside the closet. Was the pup hurt? Had it gotten stuck? Taking a deep breath, Jeremy inched closer. Hello, his voice came out squeakier than he wanted. Gathering his courage, he yanked the closet door open. Inside, wrapped in his favorite blue sweater like a makeshift dress, stood a girl. A girl who definitely hadn't been there before. Jeremy screamed. The girl screamed right back at him, eyes wide. What are you doing here? Jeremy demanded, his voice cracking. Where's Fangs? He pushed the door wider, scanning the small space filled with his winter boots and rain jacket. No wolf. The girl had wild red hair the same color as Fang's fur, freckles scattered across her nose and cheeks, and she looked about his age, maybe a little younger. She clutched the sweater tighter around herself, looking nervous. He left, she tried, biting her lip. What, where? Jeremy asked, looking back into the closet again. It was empty except for his things and this strange girl. He stared at her, then the closet, then back at her. Fine, you win, the girl blurted out, throwing her hands up. I'm Fangs. Jeremy blinked slowly. You're what? I'm him. Well, I was always a girl. I switch forms, not genders, she added quickly, as if that cleared everything up. You switch forms? Jeremy's mouth hung open in shock. The girl tugged the sweater tighter, looking embarrassed. It's crazy that you can't tell a female wolf from a male. Don't they teach you anything at human school? Human school? Jeremy repeated, completely bewildered. Whatever you call it, she shrugged. Look, I can prove I'm Fangs. You fed me beef jerky and saltine crackers yesterday. You told me your mom would be mad if she found out you were sneaking food from the kitchen. And you read me 3 chapters from that book about the kids who find a magic wardrobe. She pointed to his copy of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe on the nightstand. Jeremy's eyes widened. Who are you? My real name is Eva. She extended her hand like a grown-up, which struck Jeremy as both weird and kind of cool. Eva Keene. Jeremy shook it automatically, his brain still spinning. But how? He asked. I'm a shifter, Eva explained, perching on the edge of his bed like she belonged there. Part human, part wolf. I can turn into either one. Why didn't you just say so before? Jeremy asked, thinking about how he'd scratched behind her ears when she was a wolf. Because I can't talk as a wolf, duh. Eva rolled her eyes, then she looked a little embarrassed. I've been having trouble switching back and forth lately. It's common for shifters my age. Jeremy nodded slowly, trying to wrap his head around it. So you're a wolf and a human all at once? Yes, Eva watched him carefully. That's so cool, Jeremy exclaimed, his face breaking into a grin. Eva's face lit up with a matching smile. Right, can I be a shifter too? He asked eagerly. No, you have to be born one, she explained patiently, though her tone suggested he might be a bit slow. There is the biting thing from movies, but you wouldn't survive it. It would kill you, Jeremy gulped. Don't worry, Eva assured him quickly. I won't bite you ever, it's forbidden by our alpha. What's an alpha? Jeremy asked. Eva's eyes widened in surprise. You don't know what an alpha is. The alpha is the pack leader, the strongest, fastest, most powerful wolf. Everyone has to listen to him. He protects the pack and makes all the big decisions. You have a pack? Jeremy asked, fascinated. Of course. Otherwise I'd be a rogue, Eva said. And my alpha, he's my daddy. Jeremy thought for a moment. Crap, you probably need to get back home now, don't you? To his surprise, Eva shook her head hard. Definitely not. The alpha will be furious I left. He was already disappointed I couldn't shift back properly. My best isn't good enough for the pack. That's not true, Jeremy said firmly. You're super cool. I wish I could do what you can do. Eva smiled hesitantly. You really mean that? Of course I do. Can you show me how you shift? Jeremy asked. Eva nodded, closing her eyes and concentrating. For a moment nothing happened, then where the girl had been sitting there was now a sandy-colored wolf pup, her tail wagged furiously. Wow, Jeremy gasped. That's so cool, Fangs. The pup gave a happy yip. Jeremy's excitement faded a little. Mom is going to freak when I tell her about this. The wolf pup barked sharply and shook her head. You don't want me to tell her? Jeremy understood suddenly. Okay. It'll be our secret. The pup looked relieved, amber eyes warm with trust. Jeremy smiled. For the first time since moving to Pine Haven, he didn't feel so alone. If you're enjoying Jeremy and Eva's budding friendship and the growing mystery surrounding the wolf pup, I'd love for you to subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Many listeners get caught up in the story and forget to subscribe, but hitting that button ensures you'll be notified the moment Chapter 3 drops, where Quinn comes face to face with her past. So if you want to find out who the mysterious guest at the inn really is and how this secret will change everything, go ahead and subscribe now. What do you think? Will Quinn let Jeremy keep Fangs, or is trouble already on the way? Let me know your guess in the comments, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Chapter 3, Quinn. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the lace curtains of the small kitchen above the inn as Quinn poured milk over Jeremy's cereal. The rich smell of fresh coffee filled the air, mingling with the faint scent of old wood and lemon polish that always clung to the Victorian house. We should really take Fangs to the vet today, Quinn said, sliding the bowl toward her son. Get him checked out properly. Jeremy's spoon froze halfway to his mouth. Fangs is a girl, he said matter-of-factly, ignoring the rest of her suggestion. Quinn leaned against the kitchen counter, studying him. Is everything okay at school, honey? Jeremy gave her a confused glance. Mom, it's Saturday. I mean generally, kiddo, how are things going? Fine. His eyes shifted away from hers. Quinn opened her mouth to press further when her alarm beeped. Breakfast service for the guests started in 15 minutes. She sighed, tying on her apron. I've got to go. Want to bring your homework down to the dining room? I should stay with Fangs, Jeremy replied, reaching down to scratch the wolf pup's ears. She'd be lonely. Guilt tugged at Quinn as she headed downstairs. Back in Portland, Jeremy had at least a couple of friends. Here in Pine Haven, he seemed more isolated than ever. Running the inn had been her dream after her great aunt Mabel passed, but sometimes she wondered if the price was her son's happiness. The dining room was already filling with weekend guests when Quinn emerged with a fresh stack of pancakes. She slid them onto the buffet and began refilling coffee cups, moving efficiently between tables. A burst of high-pitched laughter cut through the room, Meg's trademark flirtatious laugh. Quinn turned and saw her friend at the reception desk talking to a tall man whose back was to the dining room. Even from behind, something about him struck her. Broad shoulders beneath an expensive suit, dark hair neatly trimmed at the nape of his neck, and a confident stance that drew her attention like a magnet. She took a step closer, coffee pot still in hand. The man shifted, reaching for a pen Meg offered. Long, elegant fingers. Quinn's grip tightened on the pot. No, it couldn't be. But as the man half-turned to sign the paper, she caught his profile and the world seemed to tilt. Those hands, she knew those hands, remembered exactly how they felt tracing patterns on her skin, gentle yet possessive. Her heart hammered violently in her throat as her eyes traveled to the sharp line of his jaw, the curve of his mouth. The man's head snapped toward her, their eyes locked, amber eyes, his eyes. The eyes that had once looked at her like she was the answer to every question he'd ever had. To his credit, those eyes only widened briefly before he schooled his expression, but Quinn saw the immediate tension that stiffened his shoulders. She walked closer on unsteady legs, ears buzzing, and heard herself ask coolly, "May I help you?" Because standing before her for the first time in 10 years was Mason Keene, the love of her life, or so she had thought. While she had been falling madly in love, his family had apparently been arranging his future. While she imagined their life together, he had already had one plan that didn't include her. "Quinn," Meg said brightly, oblivious to the storm. "Mr. Keene here wants to book a room." Quinn's voice came out colder than she intended. "I'm afraid we're fully booked." "No, we're not," Meg said, confusion crossing her face. Mason simply stared at Quinn, brows slightly furrowed. He hadn't spoken a single word yet. "How long will you be staying, sir?" Meg asked, batting her eyelashes. "Indefinitely," Mason answered, never taking his eyes off Quinn. Meg squealed with excitement. The sound was too much. Quinn couldn't take it anymore. She turned to her friend sharply. "Give it a rest, won't you? He's married." An awkward silence fell. Mason blinked, looking startled. "I'm not," Quinn sighed. "Still engaged." "Well, Mason began. "See," Quinn said triumphantly to Meg. "Widowed," Mason finished quietly. Quinn froze. His wife was dead, and he hadn't thought to come back, not even then. "Sorry for your loss," she muttered, turning away abruptly toward the kitchen. Mason moved with that same impossible speed she remembered. One second he was at the desk, the next his fingers gently grasped her arm, spinning her back toward him. "Wait, Quinn," he said, voice low. For the first time since he arrived, he looked truly affected. "Let go of me," she said. He released her slowly, reluctantly. "I apologize." "For what?" she challenged. Mason looked as sad as she felt. Quinn gave a bitter smile. "Yeah. I thought so." She walked away, heart aching with memories she had tried so hard to bury. Chapter 4. Jeremy sat on the edge of his bed, heart still racing from the incredible secret he now shared with Eva. She was currently in wolf form again, curled up beside him as Fangs, her sandy fur soft under his fingers. "I'm going crazy in here," Eva had complained earlier in her human voice, pacing the room. "My wolf wants to run, so they decided to sneak out." Jeremy stuffed a pair of his jeans and a smaller t-shirt into his backpack for Eva, along with his last $5. "We can go to the park and maybe the mall. Mom gave me some money." Eva's face lit up when he suggested it. They slipped downstairs carefully, using the busy Saturday check-ins as cover. The lobby was full of guests, which helped them stay unnoticed. They almost made it to the garden door when Eva froze, hackles rising. Through the window, Jeremy saw a tall man in dark jeans and an expensive-looking sweater walking the grounds behind the inn, searching intently. "That's not a guest," Eva whispered, voice tight. "That's my alpha." Jeremy's stomach dropped. "Your dad?" Eva nodded, shrinking back from the window. "He tracked me here. If he looks up right now, he might sense us." They ducked low. Jeremy's pulse pounded in his ears. Can he break down doors or walls? If he wanted to, Eva said simply, eyes wide and serious. The man outside moved with purposeful grace, scanning the ground as if reading invisible signs. There was something intense about him that made Jeremy's chest ache with a strange mix of fear and longing. His own father had left before he was born and never looked back, yet Eva's dad had crossed miles of wilderness to find her. Maybe you should go to him, Jeremy suggested quietly. He must be worried. Eva shook her head fiercely. You don't understand what alphas are like when they're angry. When I ran away, I broke pack law. In the old days, wolves were banished for less. But he's your dad, Jeremy protested. He's the alpha first, Eva said bitterly. Always has been. She peeked out again, then ducked down fast. He's coming this way. Get down, they scrambled away from the window. Jeremy's mind raced with comic book images of doors being ripped off hinges. What do we do? He whispered. We need to be extra careful, Eva said, determination hardening her small face. If he tries to take me by force, tell everyone I'm your wolf. He won't want to make a scene. He's obsessed with keeping our existence secret from humans. Jeremy swallowed hard. Okay, Eva shifted smoothly back into her sandy wolf pup form. Jeremy grabbed the leash in his backpack, took a deep breath, and they headed downstairs, trying to look casual. The inn was busy, which worked in their favor. More people meant more distractions. At the bottom of the stairs, Jeremy peeked around the corner. The lobby was clear enough. Meg was chatting with a couple at the front desk. His mom was nowhere in sight. Come on, he whispered, tugging gently on the leash. They made it through the back hallway toward the garden door. Just as Jeremy reached for the handle, Eva froze again, hackles raised. Through the window, Eva's father was right outside, examining something on the ground. They backed away quickly. Eva tugged Jeremy toward the laundry room instead. Good idea, it had a side door guests rarely used. Through its small window, they could see the alpha had moved toward the front of the inn. Now's our chance, Jeremy whispered. They slipped outside, staying close to the building's shadow, heading for the tree line at the edge of the property. They were almost there when a deep voice called out behind them. Excuse me. Jeremy froze, then slowly turned around. Eva's father stood 20 feet away, his amber eyes fixed on the wolf pup with laser focus. That's an unusual dog you have there, the man said, his voice casual but his stance tense and ready. Jeremy's mouth went dry. She's a husky mix, he managed. The man took a step closer. Eva pressed against Jeremy's leg, trembling slightly. Don't come any closer, Jeremy blurted. She's scared of strangers. The man's eyes narrowed, studying Eva intently. What's her name? Fangs, Jeremy answered, remembering to act like she belonged to him. The man was close enough now that Jeremy could see the gold flecks in his intense amber eyes. He reached a hand toward Eva, who backed away with a soft growl. Suddenly, this very dangerous-looking man appeared sad. See, scared of strangers, Jeremy repeated, his voice cracking. His legs felt like jelly. Eva's growl deepened, a sound no normal dog would make, and Jeremy swore the man growled right back, low and quiet. Ava, the man said softly, voice deep and certain. Come here. Jeremy's stomach dropped to his shoes. Her name is Fangs, he defended, voice going higher than intended, and she's my pet. He had never been so terrified in his life, not even when the older boys cornered him at school, but he couldn't abandon Eva. Then, like an answer to prayer, he spotted his mom on the back porch, up on a ladder trying to change a light bulb. The ladder wobbled dangerously beneath her. Mom, Jeremy called out just as the ladder tipped. Eva's father turned, saw Quinn falling, and in a blur of movement no human could possibly match, he was there catching her safely before she hit the ground. Now, Jeremy thought. He and Eva bolted for the trees, sprinting with the desperate speed of prey animals escaping a predator. Chapter 5, Quinn just a little more. Quinn muttered under her breath, stretching precariously from the top of the ladder. The back porch light had been flickering for days, driving her crazy during the evening wine hour when guests liked to sit outside with their glasses and watch the mountains turn purple. 1 more inch and she could reach the socket. The ladder wobbled beneath her, but Quinn ignored it, the light bulb almost within her grasp. Mom, Quinn glanced over. Jeremy was at the edge of the yard with Fangs and the tall man from the lobby, Mason. For a heartbeat, Quinn forgot she was balanced on a metal death trap 3 feet off the ground. Forgot everything except the way his eyes crinkled when he laughed all those years ago. Anger surged through her at the memory, and Quinn made a too quick movement. The ladder shifted, the world tilting as her feet lost contact with the metal rung. A short yelp escaped her throat as she braced for impact. It never came. Instead, strong arms caught her, cradling her body against a solid chest. What the? Quinn struggled to process what had just happened. She blinked, disoriented, and found herself looking up into amber eyes, Mason's eyes. What the hell? Quinn breathed. Are you hurt? Mason asked, his voice pitched low, intimate in a way that made her skin prickle. Quinn struggled to find her bearings. Where did you come from? The yard, Mason said simply. Quinn looked over his shoulder at the spot where he'd been standing with Jeremy just seconds ago. "But you were all the way over there," she said, pointing. She became suddenly aware that she was still in his arms, one of his hands warm against her back, the other under her knees. And well, the last time he had held her this way was the weekend they'd driven to the coast when he'd carried her into the ocean despite her squealing protests. "You can put me down now," she pointed out, a flush creeping up her neck despite herself. Mason carefully set her on her feet, but his hands lingered at her waist a moment too long, as if he were reluctant to break contact. "Are you hurt?" he asked again. "Just my pride," Quinn said, willing her heartbeat to slow down. "Where did Jeremy go? He ran off with his dog when you fell." Quinn scoffed at that, so much for checking up on her. Kids were so ungrateful, she thought, just as the memory of Jeremy's tense face resurfaced. Then Quinn's mama bear instincts flared. "Why were you talking to my son?" she snapped, staring Mason in the eye, trying not to notice how he towered over her. "Your son?" Mason asked as an emotion flickered briefly across his face. "Oh, relax, he isn't yours." She scowled all the more when Mason visibly relaxed at that. "And since he isn't, may I ask what you wanted with him?" Mason stiffened slightly. "I apologize if I overstepped." "I was asking about his pet," he said carefully. "He's a brave boy." Quinn raised an eyebrow. She had been told Jeremy was overly cautious too many times to count. Brave had never come up. "He defended it quite fiercely," Mason continued. "That takes courage." "He did," Quinn asked. "Very much so. You should be proud. He stood his ground quite admirably." A spark of pride warmed Quinn's chest. And then Mason's words registered. "Wait a minute, stood his ground?" Quinn repeated, suspicion blooming. Why would he need to stand his ground? Mason looked briefly uncomfortable. "Well, I thought his dog was my daughter's pet." "Excuse me, I mean," Mason ran a hand through his dark hair, "I thought it was my daughter's dog." Quinn stared at him. So Mason had a daughter who had lost her mother, apparently. Quinn's anger at Mason was overpowered by empathy for the poor kid. "Well, it's not," Quinn said, "because that's not a dog." "That's a wolf, you don't say," Mason quipped, though he didn't look surprised. He'd probably noticed that too, Quinn thought, which probably explained why he was looking at her like that, because he, like Meg, thought she shouldn't let her son own a pet wolf. Which fine, valid concern, but also none of Mason's business. "The wolf is very well behaved, if you must know," Quinn defended, crossing her arms. "She is?" Mason asked, looking startled before clearing his throat. "I mean, really?" Quinn narrowed her eyes at him. "Hey, you're not going to call animal control on my kid, are you? Because I'll have you know." "No." Mason raised his hands in appeasement. "I really did just confuse the wolf with my daughter's pet, that's all." Something flickered in Mason's eyes. Pain quickly masked, which was probably why Quinn asked her next question. "Where is your daughter then?" "Did you leave her alone with the family?" Mason flinched at the term. "My family is not a cult, Quinn." "Really? Because from the outside it sure looked like one," Quinn countered. She remembered how they had lived, clustered together on that massive property, how they had homeschooled the children, kept to themselves, appeared in town only in groups. "You were always together, never letting outsiders in," Quinn argued. "Controlling who everyone talked to, who they married." Her voice caught on the last word. "You don't know what you're talking about," Mason protested. "Of course I do," Quinn snapped. "Your father decided who you could be with and you just went along with it." Mason's face closed. "I apologize. For what exactly?" Quinn challenged, unable to stop herself. Mason interrupted quietly. "For all of it," Quinn looked away. "So is your daughter still there being groomed for whatever future your father has planned for her?" Mason's jaw tightened. "My father is gone. I lead the family now." This caught Quinn off guard. Old Man Keene had seemed eternal, his authority absolute. She remembered how Mason had spoken of him with reverence and fear in equal measure. "Gone," she repeated, incredulous. "After what happened with my brother," Mason's voice was carefully controlled. "Things changed." "What happened to Elliot?" Quinn asked, her anger momentarily forgotten. Mason's older brother, the golden boy, the heir apparent. The one who could do no wrong in their father's eyes. Mason looked away. "He's gone, too." The pain in his voice was real, and Quinn felt a pang of sympathy despite herself. Whatever had happened, it clearly haunted him. "And to answer your original question, no," Mason continued. "My daughter isn't with the family. She ran away." "Wait, what? Oh my God," Quinn whispered, genuine concern replacing her suspicion. "Is that why you're here?" "Are you looking for her?" Mason nodded, his face unreadable. "She's not in danger, but," he trailed off, looking toward the woods where Jeremy had disappeared. "She doesn't want to come home." The pain in his voice was unmistakable, and Quinn felt a surge of sympathy. "I'm so sorry," she told him. "That must be awful." "I believe I've failed her as a father," Mason said quietly. "We all make mistakes," Quinn leaned against the porch railing. "My kid's having a rough time since we moved here." "No friends, quiet all the time." She shook her head. "Sometimes I wonder if I made the right choice uprooting him for this inn." "You did what you thought was best, I'm sure," Mason said simply. "Did I?" Or did I do what I wanted and tell myself it was for him too? Quinn sighed. You said Jeremy was brave. I worry he's too anxious, too careful. His father left before he was born, and I wonder if that's why he abandoned his child, Mason interrupted, voice sharp. Yeah, we were 19, classic story, boy knocks up girlfriend, boy runs for the hills. He abandoned you. Something dangerous flashed in Mason's eyes. At least Jeremy's father was honest about not wanting responsibility, Quinn snapped. I never lied about wanting you, Mason said. Surely you know that. He stepped closer. Close enough that she could see the individual flecks of gold in his eyes. Quinn, he began, his voice urgent. Stop it, she warned. Whatever you're about to say, don't. For a moment, she thought he would ignore her, push forward with whatever confession or explanation he wanted to offer. The old Mason might have, but this Mason, older, carrying new burdens, simply nodded and stepped back. I should get back to work, Quinn sighed. That light still needs fixing. Allow me, Mason offered, already moving toward the ladder. Quinn watched as he climbed with easy precision, changing the bulb in seconds. The familiar way he moved, efficient and graceful, sent an unwelcome pang through her chest. When he handed her the old bulb, their fingers brushed. Thank you, she said stiffly, taking a small step back. Mason nodded, his eyes never leaving hers. Quinn, she turned away, unable to bear whatever he might say next. The past was the past. She had an inn to run, a son to raise, a life that didn't have room for reopening old wounds. Chapter 6. Jeremy watched Eva's face light up as they wandered through the town park, her eyes wide with wonder at everything from the bright ice cream truck to the colorful playground equipment. After their narrow escape from her father, they had spent the whole day exploring. Eva was in human form now, wearing Jeremy's extra clothes with her wild red hair tucked under his baseball cap. We don't have anything like this in the pack territory, she said excitedly, pointing at the swings. Dad says it's too dangerous to play with human children. Jeremy grabbed her hand. Come on, they spent a long time on the swings, Eva laughing every time she pumped her legs higher. After that, Jeremy took her to his favorite spot, a small pond where you could sail paper boats. He used his last dollar to buy 2 from the vendor. They watched their tiny vessels drift across the water, racing each other to the other side. This is way better than training, Eva sighed happily. What kind of training do you do? Jeremy asked, skipping a stone across the pond. Eva shrugged, mostly shifting and tracking and fighting for when I'm older. Future alphas have to be the strongest, fastest, and toughest. All I ever do is train, I never get to just, she gestured around the park, have fun. Maybe ask your dad for a day off, Jeremy suggested. Eva laughed. You don't tell an alpha what to do. Even if he's your dad. They were quiet for a moment, watching their paper boats reach the far side. We should head back, Jeremy said finally, noticing the lengthening shadows. Mom will be worried. When they reached the inn, Eva shifted back to wolf form behind some bushes and they slipped inside through the laundry room door as before. The inn seemed quiet, most guests must have been out for dinner. They climbed the stairs to the apartment and found the door unlocked. Inside, Jeremy's mom was seated at her small easel in the corner of the living room, paintbrush in hand, completely absorbed in her work. Hey kiddo, have fun? Quinn asked without looking up. Eva in wolf form froze mid-step, staring at the painting. It was a landscape of the forest behind the inn, the colors vibrant and bold. I ordered pizza for dinner, Quinn said. Should be here in 20 minutes. I thought we could watch a movie together. Awesome, Jeremy exclaimed. An hour later they were sprawled on the couch, the empty pizza box on the coffee table, watching an animated movie. Eva's wolf eyes never left the screen. Halfway through, the phone rang. Mrs. Henderson's shower is acting up again, Quinn said with a sigh. I'll be right back. The moment she left, Eva shifted back to human form, grabbing Jeremy's blanket to wrap around herself. Your mom is so cool, Eva whispered, her eyes bright with excitement. She makes things with her hands like actual beautiful things, Jeremy shrugged. She's always painted. She wanted to go to art school, but then she had me instead. Can I see more of her paintings? Eva asked eagerly. I guess, Jeremy said, pausing the movie. She has a little studio in the spare room. He led Eva to the smallest bedroom, which Quinn had turned into an art space. Easels stood by the window and canvases leaned against the walls. Eva spun in a slow circle, taking it all in. She moved from canvas to canvas, touching the edges gently. What's in there? Eva asked, pointing to a large portfolio leaning against the wall. I don't know, Jeremy admitted. Mom keeps her old stuff in there, I think. Naturally, this made Eva curious. She pulled the portfolio open before Jeremy could protest. Eva, Jeremy groaned. We're just appreciating your mom's art, Eva insisted, already flipping through the papers. The first few sketches were landscapes, buildings, and occasionally Jeremy as a younger child. But then Eva gasped, holding up a portrait. Jeremy's jaw dropped. It was a detailed pencil drawing of a man who looked just like Eva's dad, only younger. That's totally my dad, Eva exclaimed. They quickly discovered the portfolio contained at least a dozen drawings of Eva's dad. Some were quick sketches, others detailed portraits. In one, he was laughing with his head thrown back. In another, he was reading a book, his expression serene. "I don't understand," Jeremy said, confused. "Why would Mom have all these drawings of your dad?" "Because Jeremy," Eva whispered, "she's totally crushing on him." "What?" "No way," Jeremy protested. "Yes way," Eva said with authority. Jeremy studied the drawing. "Are you sure that's your dad, though? He looks much younger." "It's definitely him," Eva insisted. "Maybe they met before," she gasped. "Oh my God, Jeremy, are you thinking what I'm thinking? That this is really awkward." Eva shook her head in disappointment. "Oh, Jeremy, my poor simple human friend," she sighed. "No, I'm thinking if your mom started dating my dad." "Why would they do that?" Jeremy interrupted. "I don't know, adult reasons," Eva shrugged. "The point is, if they dated, my dad would let us hang out." Jeremy considered this. "Well, I guess that's true, and your mom is so much cooler than all the women his council wants him to remarry," Eva continued excitedly. "What's a council?" Jeremy asked. "Old dudes who think they can tell my dad what's best," Eva explained. "And they think what's best is for my dad to produce a second heir because my mom died when I was a baby." Her face briefly fell at that. "Oh, I'm so sorry," Jeremy said softly. Eva shrugged. "It's fine, I don't remember her." She lightened up again. "But if I'm going to get a new mom, I'd like her to be cool, and your mom is so cool, Jeremy." "She's the coolest mom," Jeremy agreed. "She lets me stay up late when I'm reading a good book, and she curses a lot." Eva nodded enthusiastically. "We need to get her together with my dad." "I don't know," Jeremy said. "No offense, but your old man's really scary." "He's not so bad," Eva defended. "He makes mean enchiladas." "I love enchiladas," Jeremy exclaimed. "See, it's perfect." Eva jumped up. "You get a new dad, I get a new mom, and we all get enchiladas." Jeremy grinned despite himself. "But how would we do it? Mom doesn't seem to like him, and trust me, she can hold a grudge forever. She still won't eat at Denny's because they messed up her order 3 years ago. We just need to get them alone together," Eva said confidently. "A lot in romantic situations." "What kind of romantic situations?" "I don't know." "Being trapped in an elevator," Eva suggested excitedly. "The inn doesn't have an elevator," Jeremy pointed out. "Well, what about if they're running from danger and have to hide in a really small closet?" "What danger would they be running from? How about a bear?" "There aren't any bears around here, Eva. I could pretend to be a bear." Jeremy just stared at her. Okay, I've got it," Eva said, snapping her fingers. "What if you pretend you've lost something in the woods and then we send my dad to help your mom find it?" "That will never," Jeremy paused. "Actually, you know what? That might work," he admitted. Eva grinned mischievously, her enthusiasm infectious. Chapter 7. Quinn swept her flashlight across the forest floor, muttering curses under her breath. The sun had nearly disappeared behind the trees, casting long shadows that made her search even more difficult. "His father's compass," she groaned, pushing aside fallen branches. "And you just happened to have it out here in the woods, Jeremy." Really? The compass was the only thing Jeremy had from the father he'd never met. A man who had left only a small box of belongings behind when he vanished from their lives. Quinn had kept it for Jeremy. When her son had burst into the kitchen an hour ago, eyes wide with panic, babbling about losing the compass while exploring the woods with fangs, Quinn hadn't hesitated. Even if it meant postponing dinner preparations for the guests and asking Meg to cover, some things were more important. Now, picking her way through the underbrush, Quinn thought she probably should have thought this through. "Stupid trees all looking the same," she grumbled, turning in a slow circle. A twig snapped behind her and Quinn whirled around, heart leaping to her throat. "Hello," she called, flashlight beam cutting through the growing darkness. A figure emerged from between the trees and Quinn's grip tightened on the flashlight, ready to use it as a weapon if necessary. "You shouldn't be out here alone," a familiar deep voice said. Quinn's shoulders sagged, relief and irritation flooding her in equal measure. "I'm not alone now, am I?" she quipped sarcastically. Mason stepped fully into the circle of her flashlight beam. "What are you doing out here?" "Ran into your son downstairs. He mentioned you disappearing into the woods." "So you thought you'd follow me?" Quinn retorted, crossing her arms. Mason's lips twitched, almost a smile. "I thought you might need help." "Well, I don't," Quinn snapped. "Quinn," Mason said softly. She sighed, turned to face him, flashlight pointed slightly down to avoid blinding him. "Fine," she conceded, "but only because I really need to find this compass for Jeremy." Mason nodded, already scanning the forest floor with a focus that reminded Quinn of how he used to approach problems, methodical, intent, unstoppable once he set his mind to something. "This way," he said, starting off confidently to the right. "Did you just choose at random?" Quinn challenged, but followed anyway. "I know these woods," he replied simply. They walked in silence for several minutes. Quinn struggled occasionally over fallen logs and uneven ground. Mason moved with an easy grace that irritated her. He'd always been unnaturally sure-footed. They reached the oak tree, its massive trunk split by an old lightning strike that had left a jagged black scar down one side. "You know," he said after a long silence, "I almost didn't recognize you when I first checked in." Quinn scoffed. "Well, you haven't changed at all. Still the same expensive clothes, same perfect posture, same," she trailed off, not wanting to finish the thought. "The same power that radiated from him, same intensity that both thrilled and frightened her." "Same what?" he prompted. "Same ability to show up where you're not wanted," she finished. Mason's quiet laugh surprised her. "I seem to recall you once saying that was one of my better qualities." The memory hit Quinn with unexpected force, a rainy afternoon when she'd stormed out after an argument with her roommate, wandering aimlessly until she found herself lost in an unfamiliar part of the city. Somehow, impossibly, Mason had appeared as if summoned by her distress. "That was different," Quinn said, though the edge had left her voice. Mason opened his mouth as if to say more, but then his attention shifted to something on the ground. He knelt, brushing aside some leaves, and when he stood, he was holding a small brass compass. "Found it," he said simply, extending his hand. Quinn took the compass, their fingers brushing briefly in the exchange. "Thank you," she said, tucking it safely in her pocket. Jeremy would be relieved, she thought, but didn't say. "Tell me about your son," Mason said quietly as they began walking back toward the inn, now visible through the trees in the distance. Quinn glanced at him, surprised by the request. "What would you like to know? Just what's he like? Does he always put too much jam on his toast? Is he afraid of clowns too?" Quinn opened her mouth to remind Mason she was not in fact afraid of clowns, but he continued. "Does he sing off key and just so happens to blurt out whatever thought goes through his head? He's actually quite the opposite." Quinn rolled her eyes. "Patient, thinks before he acts. Jeremy weighs every possibility before making a decision." She gave Mason a pointed look. "You always knew what you wanted," he observed, never hesitated to go after it. They walked a few steps in silence before Quinn asked, "And what about your daughter? Does she smile at strangers and turn heads without realizing? Does she make you feel special and then disappears on you?" Something flickered across Mason's face. "Eva is fierce," he murmured, "independent. Questions everything I say. Unlike her parents then," Quinn teased gently. Mason laughed, a warm sound that sent an unexpected shiver down Quinn's spine. "She's braver than I ever was," he murmured. "Follows her heart without hesitation." Quinn heard the unspoken words beneath his description that his daughter was brave in ways he wasn't, ways that might have changed everything. "You've always been good at that, Quinn." Mason's eyes held hers. "Living life your way, consequences be damned." They walked the rest of the way in silence, but it was a different quality of silence than before, less tense, more thoughtful. As they approached the inn's back door, the yellow light from the kitchen spilled out onto the porch steps. Quinn paused, turning to face Mason. "Thank you," she said, meeting his eyes, "for helping me find the compass. It belonged to Jeremy's dad. It means a lot to him." Mason stepped closer, just a fraction, but enough that Quinn could feel the warmth radiating from him. "I'm glad I could help." The moonlight caught in his amber eyes, and Quinn was suddenly vividly reminded of another night, years ago, when they'd stood beneath a different moon. The memory hit her with unexpected force, his hands cradling her face, his whispered confession that he'd never felt this way about anyone before. "Quinn," Mason said softly, and her name on his lips still sounded like a prayer. She knew she should step back, should go inside, should remember all the reasons why this was a terrible idea, but her body betrayed her, swaying slightly toward him. Mason's hand rose to her cheek, his touch feather-light, as if he were afraid she might disappear. His eyes searched hers, asking a question she wasn't sure she knew how to answer. For one suspended moment, she was certain he was going to kiss her. Part of her, a part she thought she'd buried years ago, ached for it with startling intensity. Then something shifted in his expression, a flash of what looked like fear, and Mason pulled back abruptly, his hand falling away from her face. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice strained. The sudden withdrawal felt like a physical slap. Quinn blinked, heat rising to her cheeks. Of course he wouldn't kiss her. He made his choice years ago. Mason's expression was pained. "It's not what you think, Quinn. There are reasons." "There always are with you," Quinn muttered. "Always secrets, always something holding you back." "Quinn, good night, Mason," she said firmly, stepping into the warm light of the inn before he could say anything else, before she could do something even more foolish. After all these years, after everything that had happened, how could he still affect her this way? How could she still be so stupid? As she closed the door behind her, Quinn leaned against it for a moment, the compass clutched tightly in her hand, feeling a mix of embarrassment and another emotion she wouldn't name for what it was. Longing, Chapter 8, Jeremy, they almost kissed, Eva whispered excitedly, pacing back and forth across Jeremy's bedroom. She was in human form, wearing one of his t-shirts as a nightgown, her wild red hair tumbling around her face. Jeremy sat cross-legged on his bed, absently spinning the brass compass between his fingers. "But they didn't actually kiss," he pointed out. Eva waved her hand dismissively. "Details, the point is they wanted to." Did you see your mom's face when she came inside? Jeremy had noticed. His mom had tried to act normal, but her eyes had that distant look she got when she was upset about something. Your plan worked pretty well, Jeremy admitted. The compass had been a good idea. Told you. Eva plopped down beside him on the mattress, bouncing slightly. But we need to do more. They're fighting it. Fighting what? Eva rolled her eyes dramatically. Their feelings, dummy. Grown-ups do that. They like to make everything complicated. So what do we do now? Jeremy asked. We need to be sneakier, Eva decided. More strategic. As Eva scribbled down ideas on a piece of paper she'd found on his desk, Jeremy felt a flutter of hope in his chest. Maybe, just maybe, this crazy plan could work. Maybe he could finally have a dad who wouldn't leave, and Eva could have a mom who'd let her just be a kid sometimes. The next few days passed in a blur of careful watching and whispered schemes. From the safety of the hallway, they observed Quinn and Mason accidentally brushing hands while passing coffee in the breakfast room. They exchanged knowing glances when both adults made excuses to check the storage closet at the same time. They think they're being so sneaky, Eva whispered as they peeked around the corner, watching Mason lean close to whisper something in Quinn's ear that made her blush. Mom literally wore lipstick to take out the trash yesterday, Jeremy snickered. The trash because your dad was out chopping wood. My dad changed his shirt 3 times before dinner, Eva countered. I've never seen him care about clothes before. They retreated to Jeremy's room, collapsing in fits of giggles. It's kind of weird though, Jeremy admitted once they'd calmed down, seeing my mom all giggly. I know, Eva nodded solemnly. My dad actually smiled at breakfast, like with teeth showing. The pack would never believe it. Jeremy fiddled with his comic book, a thought occurring to him. What happens when your dad eventually goes back to your pack? Will you go with him? Eva's smile faded. I don't know, I haven't thought about it. A silence fell between them, the reality of their situation suddenly intruding on their triumph. Maybe they'll fall in love for real, Jeremy suggested hopefully. And then we could all stay together. Eva brightened. My dad might even thank me instead of grounding me for running away. You think? Well, probably not, Eva conceded, but he might ground me for less time. Besides, I found him a mate. That's like super important for an alpha. And I found my mom someone who makes her happy, Jeremy added. Someone who's not going to leave. Eva nodded, but then tilted her head, her attention caught by something. Jeremy, your glasses. Jeremy's hand flew up to the frames where the right side was held together with clear tape. What about them? They're broken. Eva scooted closer on the bed again. That's the second time this week. It's nothing, Jeremy mumbled, suddenly very interested in his comic book. Just got bumped in gym class. Eva's eyes narrowed. You're lying, I can smell it. That's not fair, Jeremy protested. You can't use shifter powers to catch me in lies. Yes, I can, Eva insisted, especially when you're hiding something important. Her expression softened. Jeremy, what happened? Jeremy sighed, setting his comic aside. It's just some guys at school, it's no big deal. They broke your glasses, Eva's voice rose indignantly. On purpose. SHH, Jeremy glanced anxiously at his door. I said it's no big deal. It happens, it shouldn't happen, Eva said, her amber eyes flashing with anger. Who are they? What are their names? Just some 5th graders, Tommy Wilson and his friends. Jeremy shrugged, trying to appear casual. They're jerks to everyone. Why haven't you told your mom? Because she'd make a big deal out of it. She'd go to the school and talk to the principal and then it would get worse. Jeremy fiddled with the tape on his glasses. Besides, she's happy right now. I don't want to ruin that. Eva growled, an actual growl that sounded distinctly wolf-like. This isn't right, Jeremy. In the pack, no one would dare treat you this way. Well, I'm not in a pack, Jeremy reminded her. You're still pack, Eva declared with such conviction that Jeremy blinked in surprise. You're my pack and pack protects each other. I am, Jeremy asked, something warm unfurling in his chest. Of course you are, Eva said, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. Being pack isn't just about being a shifter, it's about loyalty and trust and having each other's backs. Jeremy smiled, his throat suddenly tight with emotion. I've never been anyone's pack before. Well, you are now, Eva said decisively. She reached out and squeezed his hand. You're not alone anymore, Jeremy, you've got me. Jeremy squeezed back, a strange sense of relief washing over him. All his life, it had just been him and his mom against the world. Having someone else, having a pack, felt like having a family. Chapter 9. Quinn. The days at Pine Haven Inn shifted into a rhythm that Quinn didn't recognize, and that unnerved her more than she'd ever admit. Because Mason Keene was everywhere. When the ancient coffee maker sputtered its final breath on a busy Saturday morning, Mason appeared like summoned magic, toolbox in hand and sleeves rolled up. You always did break things when you were stressed, he said with a crooked grin, kneeling beside the counter. I'm not stressed, Quinn lied, taking the screwdriver he offered. She watched him work, those deft hands moving with quiet confidence, and her mind betrayed her. Flashing images of those same hands splayed across her skin, tugging at her hips, threading through her hair, holding her still while he kissed her until she forgot her name. She exhaled shakily, forcing herself to look away. When the spring rain came, Quinn found herself under the small garden gazebo, the storm turning the world around them into a blurred watercolor of silver sheets and dripping leaves. And of course Mason was there too. He stood close enough that she could feel the heat of his body, even in the chill air, but not quite touching. Not yet. "Looks like we're stuck," he said, eyes on the storm. She wrapped her arms around herself. "We'll dry." Mason glanced down at her. "You remember that storm in Portland?" Her stomach twisted. She did too well, running through the city, soaked and laughing, ducking into that bookshop to escape the rain. Mason pinning her against a wall of antique maps, kissing her senseless before dragging her to the floor behind a stack of biographies. Poetry forgotten, hands everywhere. "No," she said too quickly. His gaze sharpened. "Liar." Raindrops hit the roof like drum beats. She could feel every tick of the clock in her spine. 23 agonizing minutes of silence stretched between them, soaked in memory, tension, and everything they weren't saying. The water heater died on Tuesday evening because of course it did. Quinn stood in the basement, arms crossed, eyeing the massive tank like she could will it back to life. She didn't hear the footsteps until they were already halfway down the stairs. "Let me guess," she muttered, "you just happened to be nearby." Mason shrugged, setting down a flashlight and a wrench. "Your inn has terrible luck. Fortunately, I'm extremely handy, and it wasn't just broken appliances." Mason appeared on her morning walks, falling into step beside her without warning. When the firewood delivery arrived, he was already unloading the logs, sleeves pushed up, shirt clinging to his back. She hated how beautiful he was. Hated how natural it felt to see him here, helping her, smiling like he belonged. And she really hated how her hands ached to touch him. One evening, she found him in the library thumbing through a worn book of poetry. Her breath caught. Still reading Blake, their eyes met, the silence stretched, taut as a drawn bowstring. She remembered reading to him in bed, naked under the covers, his fingers tracing lines over her stomach while she whispered stanzas into the dark. Blake had always been her favorite poet, and still things kept happening. Jeremy somehow was thriving. He seemed happier, lighter, laughing more, especially when Mason's daughter Fangs was around. One night, Quinn heard him at his door. "Of course she'd want extra pepperoni," he said as if responding to someone. "Mom always forgets." There was a beat of silence. "No, I didn't tell him, should I?" Quinn frowned. His tone was conspiratorial, animated. She pressed an ear to the door. No response, just him, just his voice and the soft shuffle of paws on the floor. Later, she brought it up to Meg. "Kids and their pets," Meg said with a shrug. "But can we talk about how Mr. Broody Wolf can't stop looking at you? He practically inhaled you during breakfast." "He did not," Quinn said, turning away to hide the flush creeping up her neck. "Oh, honey," Meg grinned. "The tension between you two is so thick I could spread it on toast." Quinn muttered something obscene and went back to her paperwork. That evening, she was on the back porch again, painting the sunset. Her strokes were uneven, her thoughts a mess. The air shifted. She didn't need to turn. She knew it was him. "You still paint," Mason said, voice warm against her ear. "Some habits don't die." He stood behind her now, close, too close. "It was beautiful," he murmured. Her hand tightened on the edge of the easel. His nearness was dizzying. Her body remembered too much the press of him, the taste, the way he used to whisper her name. Before he could say anything else, Meg's voice cut through the moment. "Quinn, phone call, Mrs. Henderson." She walked away before she changed her mind, but the ache lingered. The next morning, she was cleaning the breakfast room when Mason appeared with something clutched in his hand. Her stomach dropped, the folder. Her sketch folder, the one she kept buried under journals and tax forms in the bottom drawer of her art desk. The one filled with a younger Mason, shirtless, asleep, laughing. The version of him she had never really let go. "I found these in my room," he said, voice unreadable. Her blood ran cold. "You weren't supposed to see those. I didn't think you still had them." He held out a drawing. "This one." "Me on the balcony reading." Quinn snatched the folder from his hand. "They're private. You kept them. It doesn't mean anything." "It does." His voice was quiet, steady. "Why did you make so many portraits of me if—" "Oh, for crying out loud, Mason," Quinn snapped. "Like you needed any more proof of how much I loved you. Wasn't it obvious? I loved you so much it scared me, and then you left." Mason stepped closer. "What about now?" he asked. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. "How do you feel now?" he pressed, her hands clenched around the folder, her heart thundering. "What does it matter?" she whispered. He lifted a hand, cupping her cheek with aching gentleness. "It matters to me." Then he kissed her. No warning, no hesitation. It was 10 years of longing crashing into one breathless, desperate moment. His mouth claimed hers and she shattered. She dropped the folder. Pages scattered. Her hands buried themselves in his shirt, his hair. His arms wrapped around her like they'd never let go again. She arched into him, gasping as his lips trailed from her mouth to her jaw, then back again. It was reckless, messy, unforgivable. It was everything she'd missed. Everything she still wanted, and it was only the beginning. Chapter 10, Jeremy, they kissed, Eva whispered fiercely, bouncing on Jeremy's bed in human form. They actually kissed in the breakfast room. Jeremy looked up from his comic book, eyes wide. How do you know? Did you see them? No, but I could smell it on my dad when he came back to his room. Eva tapped her nose proudly. Shifter senses, remember. He smelled like your mom's perfume and happiness. Happiness has a smell? Jeremy asked, amazed. Duh, Eva rolled her eyes. Everything has a smell, and my dad was practically covered in I just kissed someone I really like scent. Jeremy scrunched his nose. Gross but also awesome, our plan worked. They high-fived, grinning at each other like co-conspirators. Operation Parent Trap was a total success, Eva declared. The drawings were genius. I still can't believe we did that. Jeremy admitted Mom would kill me if she knew I went through her private stuff. But she won't kill you, Eva pointed out, because now she's too busy kissing my dad. They dissolved into giggles, quickly muffling the sound with pillows. Over the next few days, Jeremy and Eva watched with growing amusement as their parents attempted, and failed, to be discreet. From the safety of the hallway, they observed Quinn and Mason accidentally brushing hands while passing coffee in the breakfast room. They exchanged knowing glances when both adults made excuses to check the storage closet at the same time. They think they're being so sneaky, Eva whispered as they peeked around the corner, watching Mason lean close to whisper something in Quinn's ear that made her blush. Mom literally wore lipstick to take out the trash yesterday, Jeremy snickered. The trash because your dad was out chopping wood. My dad changed his shirt 3 times before dinner, Eva countered. I've never seen him care about clothes before. They retreated to Jeremy's room, collapsing in fits of laughter. It's kind of weird though, Jeremy admitted once they'd calmed down, seeing my mom all giggly. I know, Eva nodded solemnly. My dad actually smiled at breakfast, like with teeth showing. The pack would never believe it. Jeremy fiddled with his comic, a thought occurring to him. What happens when your dad eventually goes back to your pack? Will you go with him? Eva's smile faded. I don't know, I haven't thought about it. A silence fell between them, the reality of their situation suddenly intruding on their triumph. Maybe they'll fall in love for real, Jeremy suggested hopefully, and then we could all stay together. Eva brightened. My dad might even thank me instead of grounding me for running away. You think? Well, probably not, Eva conceded. But he might ground me for less time. Besides, I found him a mate. That's like super important for an alpha. And I found my mom someone who makes her happy, Jeremy added. Someone who's not going to leave. Eva nodded but then tilted her head, her attention caught by something. Jeremy, your glasses. Jeremy's hand flew up to the frames where the right side was held together with clear tape. What about them? They're broken. Eva scooted closer on the bed again. That's the second time this week. It's nothing, Jeremy mumbled, suddenly very interested in his comic book. Just got bumped in gym class. Eva's eyes narrowed. You're lying, I can smell it. That's not fair, Jeremy protested. You can't use shifter powers to catch me in lies. Yes, I can, Eva insisted, especially when you're hiding something important. Her expression softened. Jeremy, what happened? Jeremy sighed, setting his comic aside. It's just some guys at school, it's no big deal. They broke your glasses, Eva's voice rose indignantly. On purpose, SHH, Jeremy glanced anxiously at his door. I said it's no big deal, it happens. It shouldn't happen, Eva said, her amber eyes flashing with anger. Who are they? What are their names? Just some 5th graders. Tommy Wilson and his friends. Jeremy shrugged, trying to appear casual. They're jerks to everyone. Why haven't you told your mom? Because she'd make a big deal out of it. She'd go to the school and talk to the principal, and then it would get worse. Jeremy fiddled with the tape on his glasses. Besides, she's happy right now. I don't want to ruin that. Eva growled, an actual growl that sounded distinctly wolf-like. This isn't right, Jeremy. In the pack, no one would dare treat you this way. Well, I'm not in a pack, Jeremy reminded her. You're still pack, Eva declared with such conviction that Jeremy blinked in surprise. You're my pack and pack protects each other. I am, Jeremy asked, something warm unfurling in his chest. Of course you are, Eva said, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. Being pack isn't just about being a shifter. It's about loyalty and trust and having each other's backs. Jeremy smiled, his throat suddenly tight with emotion. I've never been anyone's pack before. Well, you are now, Eva said decisively. She reached out and squeezed his hand. You're not alone anymore, Jeremy, you've got me. Jeremy squeezed back, a strange sense of relief washing over him. All his life, it had just been him and his mom against the world. Having someone else having a pack felt like having a family. Chapter 11, Quinn. Afternoon light filters through the curtains, casting a warm glow across Quinn's bedroom. She lies with her head on Mason's chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. I've missed this, he murmurs, pressing his lips to her forehead. Quinn chuckles. You saw me this morning and last night and yesterday afternoon in the supply closet. You know what I mean, Mason says softly. And she does. It's not just about these past few weeks of stolen moments and secret smiles. It's about the decade they lost, the life they might have had. Quinn props herself up on one elbow, studying his face in the warm light. There's a contentment there she hasn't seen before, as if some of the weight he carries has been temporarily lifted. "Why did you leave then?" she asks, the question that's been burning inside her since he reappeared. "Really?" "What happened?" Mason's expression shifts, the contentment fading. He takes a deep breath, his eyes fixed on the ceiling. "My family was in crisis, they needed me." "Does this have to do with what happened to Elliot?" Quinn asks gently. Mason tenses, his jaw clenching as he looks away. "Yes." Quinn waits for more, but Mason remains silent, his body suddenly rigid beside her. Frustration wells up inside her. Always these walls, these secrets. But something in his expression stops her usual retort. There's pain there, raw and deep, and for once Quinn chooses patience. She takes his hand, threading her fingers through his. "You don't have to tell me everything," she says softly. "But I would have liked to be there for you back then, and I'd like to be there for you now." Mason turns to her, gratitude and anguish warring in his eyes. "I know, I'm sorry." He brings their joined hands to his lips. "I want to tell you everything, but..." He trails off, looking torn, almost frightened. "What are you so afraid of?" Quinn asks. "Myself," Mason answers simply, his voice hollow. Quinn frowns, confused. "What does that mean?" Mason shakes his head, his expression so distraught that Quinn's heart aches for him. Whatever demons he's fighting, they're real enough to him. "Just promise you won't leave me again," she says instead. Not like before, not without explaining. "I promise," Mason says, meeting her eyes with an intensity that makes her breath catch. "Even when your daughter comes home?" "Yes," he nods, then with a small smile adds, "though who knows when that will be." Quinn studies him, noting how his body has relaxed at the mention of his daughter. "Any developments on that front?" "Not yet," Mason says, but there's something almost peaceful in his tone. "But I know where she is, I know she's safe and she seems happy." "That's good," Quinn says, though something about his certainty puzzles her. "Thank you," Mason says suddenly, his amber eyes warm. "For what?" "For more than you know," he replies cryptically. Quinn glances at the clock and sighs, reluctantly disentangling herself from him. "I have to go. I want to surprise Jeremy and pick him up from school." She doesn't add that she's been worried about her son lately. The broken glasses, the way he changes the subject when she asks about his day. Mason watches her as she dresses, his expression unreadable. On impulse, Quinn turns to him. "Want to come with me?" Mason's eyebrows shoot up in surprise. "You want me to meet your son?" "Well, you've already met him," Quinn points out, buttoning her shirt. "Yes, but..." Mason looks almost shy, which seems ridiculous for a man of his presence. "That's different." Quinn laughs, delighted by this unexpected vulnerability. "We could get ice cream afterward." "You in or what?" A slow smile spreads across Mason's face. "Yes, great, we just need to pick up Fangs first," Quinn says, reaching for her shoes. "Don't worry, she's very well behaved around you lately." "She better be," Mason mutters. "What? Nothing," he says quickly, climbing out of bed. 40 minutes later, they're walking toward the elementary school, Fangs trotting obediently beside them. Quinn can't help noticing how attentive Mason is to the wolf, watching her every move with an almost paternal vigilance. Fangs, for her part, remains unusually still and quiet around Mason, though not aggressive. It's as if she's on her best behavior or afraid to make a wrong move. "The school's just around this corner," Quinn says, her stomach fluttering with nerves. Of course it matters what Jeremy thinks of Mason. Her son has always been and will always be her priority. If Jeremy doesn't like Mason, well, he'd have time to get to know him better. But Quinn finds herself desperately hoping they'll connect. She wants her son to be happy, to feel comfortable with this new development in their lives. Suddenly, Fangs stops walking, her ears perking up. The wolf tilts her head as if listening to something beyond human hearing, her body growing tense. "What's wrong with her?" Quinn asks, tightening her grip on the leash. Mason frowns, studying the wolf with concern. "I don't know." Fangs begins to whine, a high-pitched sound that sends chills down Quinn's spine. The wolf paws at the ground anxiously, her whole body quivering with barely contained energy. "She's never acted like this before," Quinn says, struggling to keep hold of the leash as Fangs begins to pull forward. "Something's wrong," Mason mutters, his expression darkening. "I'm sure he'll be." Mason stops abruptly as Fangs suddenly bolts, yanking the leash from Quinn's hand. "Eva, no." Quinn barely registers the strange name as they both break into a run after the wolf, who's sprinting toward a commotion on the far side of the playground. As they round the corner of the building, Quinn's heart drops. Jeremy is backed against the wall, surrounded by 3 larger boys. One of them, a bulky kid with a buzzcut, holds Jeremy's glasses just out of reach while the others laugh. "Give them back, Tommy," Jeremy says, his voice steady despite his obvious fear. "Make me 4 eyes," the boy taunts. "Oh wait, you can't even see without them, can you?" Fangs reaches them before Quinn and Mason do, launching herself at the bully with a ferocious growl. The boy screams as Fangs knocks him to the ground, standing over him with bared teeth, her hackles raised. Fangs, no, Jeremy cries, but the wolf ignores him, continuing to growl at the terrified boy. Mason surges forward. Eva, he commands, his voice carrying a strange power that makes the hair on Quinn's arm stand up. Stop now. To Quinn's astonishment, Fangs, or Eva, immediately backs off, her head lowering in submission. Mason grabs her by the scruff, his face drained of all color, his jaw clenched so tight Quinn can see a muscle jumping in his cheek. How could you? He hisses at the wolf, his voice low but edged with steel. I taught you better than this. This boy is human. Do you understand what could have happened if I hadn't been here? The wolf whimpers, cowering under his gaze, and Quinn is struck by how human the interaction seems, like a father reprimanding a child, not a man talking to an animal. Mason, Quinn calls, confusion swirling inside her. He doesn't seem to hear her. His entire focus is on the wolf. His hands are shaking as he lifts Fangs into his arms, his face a mask of barely controlled terror. Quinn rushes to Jeremy, pulling him away from the wall. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Her hands move frantically over his arms, his face checking for injuries. I'm fine, Mom, Jeremy insists, though his voice shakes. It wasn't a big deal. It is a big deal, Quinn says, fury building inside her. She turns to the bully, who's scrambling to his feet. Are you okay? She asks. Because she has to, because she's a responsible adult, even when she wants to shake the kid until his teeth rattle. The boy nods, wide-eyed and pale, clutching Jeremy's glasses in his fist. Quinn holds out her hand, and he surrenders them immediately before backing away with his friends. When Quinn turns back to Mason, he's cradling Fangs in his arms, his expression stricken. The wolf is oddly docile, almost limp in his grasp. What happened? Quinn asks, but Mason isn't looking at her. Mason, wait, what's going on? What did you call her? Mason backs away, his face a mask of anguish. This was a mistake, he says, his voice hollow. I'm sorry, Quinn. What? Wait, Quinn calls as Mason turns and strides toward the parking lot. Where are you going, Mason? But he doesn't stop, doesn't look back. He places Fangs in the passenger seat of a black SUV Quinn has never seen before and climbs in after her. Mason, Quinn shouts again, but the engine roars to life and the car pulls away, leaving her standing in the schoolyard, holding Jeremy's broken glasses, her heart cracking open all over again. Mom, Jeremy's voice is small, frightened. What just happened? Quinn pulls her son close, watching the SUV disappear around the corner. I don't know, baby, she whispers, a cold certainty settling in her gut. But I have a very bad feeling about it. Chapter 12. Eva. It's been 24 hours since her father dragged Eva away from Jeremy, away from Quinn. 24 hours of whispers from the pack members, sideways glances, and her father's deafening silence. A tear slides down her cheek, followed by another. This is exactly why she ran away in the first place. At the inn with Jeremy and Quinn, she wasn't judged for being an imperfect shifter. They didn't care about protocol or pack politics or perfect control. They were just happy. A soft knock at the door makes Eva quickly wipe her tears away. Eva, her father's voice is tentative, nothing like the commanding tone he'd used yesterday. Go away, she mutters, but not loudly enough to actually keep him out. The door opens and Mason stands in the doorway, hesitating before stepping inside. He looks exhausted. Dark circles under his eyes, his usually impeccable appearance rumpled. I'm sorry I didn't come sooner, he says quietly, approaching but not sitting, as if unsure of his welcome. I needed time, Eva shrugs, turning back to the window. Whatever. I also want to apologize for taking you away like that. Mason runs a hand through his hair. I felt I had no choice when I saw you attack that boy. I wouldn't have harmed him, Eva interrupts, finally turning to look at her father. You don't know that, Mason snaps, his voice suddenly sharp. You weren't in control. Of course I was, Eva shoots back, standing up to face him. Mason's face darkens, a flash of genuine anger crossing his features. So, you're telling me you intentionally attacked a human? Do you hear yourself? Have you forgotten the punishment for such a crime? He deserved it, Eva cries, her own anger bubbling up. He was bullying Jeremy. He broke his glasses and was laughing about it. Mason's mouth snaps shut, his jaw working as he processes this. Eva can see the conflict in his eyes, the protective instinct warring with his rigid adherence to pack law. See, Eva says, her voice breaking. You agree, don't you? You know I was right to defend him. Mason takes a deep breath, visibly gathering his composure. I understand you wanted to defend Jeremy, he says carefully, but using our powers against humans who have none, it isn't fair, Eva. Not only is it dangerous for the humans, but it risks exposing our entire pack, our entire kind. Eva drops her gaze, knowing there's truth in his words. I only wanted to scare him, she admits softly. I'd never have actually hurt him. Even so, her father says, his voice heavy with finality, I cannot allow you to continue seeing Jeremy. What? Eva gasps. But Dad, he's my best friend. Then you'll do what's right for him, Mason interrupts firmly. Humans are fragile, Eva. What about Jeremy's mom? Eva challenges, watching her father's face carefully. I know you like her, Dad. I saw you kissing. Mason grimaces, running a hand over his face. You saw that, did you? Of course I did, Eva says, crossing her arms. Mason sinks onto the edge of her bed, his shoulders slumping. It's wonderful that you made a friend, Eva, and yes, seeing Quinn again was, he pauses, searching for the right word, he doesn't find it. We can't be together, he says instead. It's not right. Dad, that's crap, Eva blurts out. Language, Mason snaps. Dad, that's crap, Eva corrects. We were so happy there, why can't we go see them? I'm sure they miss us, or at least me. The weak attempt at humor falls flat. Her dad's eyes grow distant, as if seeing something far away. There's something you need to know, he says finally. Eva sits beside him, suddenly nervous. What is it? You know, I wasn't always meant to be alpha, Mason begins. Your uncle Elliot was the firstborn, the heir, groomed from childhood to lead the pack. Eva nods. Elliot was everything an alpha should be, strong, controlled. Mason's voice grows strained. I idolized him. Followed him everywhere. He pauses and Eva waits, barely breathing. When we were in our early 20s, Mason explains, Elliot had formed a friendship with a young woman from town, a human. Claire was her name. He never told our father, it was forbidden, of course. Eva shifts closer. One night, Elliot and I were running in the woods when we heard screaming. Mason's face darkens with the memory. We found Claire being attacked by a group of men from town. They were drunk, holding her down, trying to, he pauses, jaw clenching, hurt her. Eva's eyes widen with horror. Elliot lost control completely. Mason's voice grows hollow. He shifted, not partially, fully right in front of them. He went for the leader's throat, tore it open in one bite. Eva gasps, her hand flying to her mouth. By the time I pulled him off, the man was dead. The others had fled. Mason swallows visibly. They saw everything, saw what we are. Oh my God, Eva breathes, realization dawning. Mason stares at his hands. We ran home, told our father what happened. The council was convened. And, Eva presses when he falls silent. Mason's eyes meet hers, haunted with old pain. Elliot couldn't become alpha after that. He trails off, unable to continue. Where is Uncle Elliot now? Eva asks, her voice small. Was he banished? Mason doesn't answer at first, just shakes his head slightly. Dad, Eva insists. Where is he? Mason sighs. He's gone, Eva. He was executed for his crime. Eva gasps, horror washing over her. A human life was taken, Mason says, and there's only one punishment. That's not fair, Eva whispers, tears streaming down her face now. My father, your grandfather, died of a broken heart shortly after, Mason continues, his voice hollow. And suddenly I was alpha, not because I was ready, not because I was chosen, but because there was no one else. Eva throws her arms around her father and feels him trembling slightly as he returns the embrace. I'm so sorry, Dad, she sobs. I never wanted to burden you with this, Mason murmurs into her hair. I was trying to protect you. From what? From the weight of our history. His hand gently cups her cheek. You have to understand, Eva, my brother was the most controlled person I knew, and even he slipped. That's why I've been so strict with you about control, and that's why I left Quinn. Eva realizes, pieces falling into place. Mason nods, pain etching deeper lines around his eyes. When Elliot died and I became alpha, I knew I couldn't stay with her. What if I lost control? What if I hurt her? His gaze softens as it rests on Eva. And then even after your mother, I couldn't risk exposing you to the human world, couldn't risk history repeating itself. But Dad, Eva protests, I would never. You already did, Mason reminds her gently. Yesterday when you saw Jeremy being bullied, you lost control, you attacked a human boy. But I wouldn't have hurt him, Eva insists, not really. Maybe not, Mason concedes, but the risk is too great, Eva. I will always look to protect you first and foremost, even from yourself if necessary. Eva leans against her father's shoulder, the fight gone out of her. She understands now. The fear in his eyes wasn't disappointment in her. It was terror at what might have happened, what they might have lost. So I guess I'm grounded, huh? She asks finally, her voice small. For running away, absolutely, Mason confirms. But there's a hint of relief in his voice at the change of subject. For a very long time, and Jeremy and Quinn, Mason's arm tightens around her shoulders. It's better for everyone if we stay away. For their safety as much as ours. Eva curls into her father's embrace, feeling both comforted and heartbroken. She doesn't want to let her father down, not now when she finally understands what he's been carrying all these years. But as night falls over the pack house, the room feels too big, too quiet without Jeremy's constant questions and commentary. The bed too empty without Quinn checking in on them before turning out the lights. She misses the creaky floorboards of the inn, the smell of Quinn's coffee in the morning, the sound of Jeremy reading aloud from his latest comic book. She misses feeling normal, feeling accepted, not like the alpha's daughter with all those expectations, but just Eva. But now she understands why they can't go back. It's not just pack rules or her father's strictness, it's about protection. Protection for Jeremy, for Quinn, even for her father who's already lost so much. Chapter 13. Jeremy a week, that's how long it's been since Eva and her father disappeared from Pine Haven. No more secret conversations, no more adventures, no more feeling like he finally belongs somewhere with someone. But perhaps even worse is watching his mom try to pretend she's okay. Quinn smiles too brightly, laughs too loudly, and avoids any mention of Mason or Eva, but Jeremy knows better. He hears her crying at night when she thinks he's asleep. Now past midnight, Jeremy creeps down the hallway toward the soft sounds coming from his mother's studio. The door is cracked open, a sliver of light spilling onto the floor. Quinn sits cross-legged on the floor, holding a small photograph that Jeremy has never seen before. "Mom," Jeremy whispers. Quinn starts hastily wiping her eyes. "Hey kiddo, what are you doing up? Couldn't sleep." Jeremy sits beside her on the floor. "Is that him?" Quinn looks down at the photo. For a moment, Jeremy thinks she might deny it, but instead she hands it to him. "That was a long time ago," she says softly. "Before you." Jeremy studies the image. His mother looks different. Longer hair, wider smile, a lightness to her that he's never quite seen before. And Mason, he looks younger too, less burdened somehow. "You loved him," Jeremy says. "It isn't a question." Quinn sighs, gathering a few sketches into a loose pile. "You know what's funny," she says. "When he came back into my life, I was furious, but somewhere along the way, I started to forgive him. Started to think maybe we could try again." She shakes her head. "I just wish I knew why he keeps running." Jeremy stares at his hands, guilt churning in his stomach. He knows why Mason left, because he's a shifter. But he's promised Eva he wouldn't tell. "I'm sorry, Mom," Jeremy says quietly. Quinn looks at him then, her eyes softening. "Oh, baby," she pulls him into a hug. "I've been so caught up in my own drama, I haven't even asked how you're doing without fangs." Jeremy swallows hard as Quinn strokes his hair. "Maybe we can find you another dog." "No," the word comes out sharper than he intends. "I don't want another dog." Quinn kisses the top of his head. "Come on, it's late, we both need sleep." But Jeremy can't sleep. He lies awake, staring at the ceiling in a room that feels too big without Eva. His mom must feel the same way, alone in her room without Eva's dad. If only there were a way to bring them back together. If only he could bridge the gap between the human and werewolf worlds. If only. The words echo as he tosses and turns, and now he needs the bathroom. With a sigh, he slips out of bed. The hallway is dark and still. He tiptoes across the wooden floor and slowly turns the bathroom door knob, careful not to make a sound. But as he pushes the door open, a strange sensation hits like walking through static. Jeremy blinks, momentarily blinded by daylight. When his vision clears, he gasps. He's not in the bathroom. He's in a narrow aisle between towering bookshelves. Sunlight filters through tall windows onto a worn wooden floor. "Hello," he calls, his voice small in the cavernous space. No reply. It must be a dream, but the dust under his fingers feels real. Too real. A soft creak echoes somewhere deeper in what he now realizes is a bookshop. Heart pounding, Jeremy moves toward a warm glow ahead. Turning the corner, he finds a young woman perched on a desk, flipping through a magazine. Her strawberry blonde hair is piled into a messy bun, and one ear bristles with piercings. She doesn't look up, just flips a page and sighs. Excuse me," Jeremy ventures. The girl shrieks, hurling the magazine into the air. Sorry," Jeremy backs up, hands raised. "I didn't mean to scare you." The girl clutches her chest, glaring at him. "How did you even get in here?" "I don't know," Jeremy replies. "I opened the bathroom door and there I was." The girl's expression shifts from annoyance to interest. "Well," she comments. "Life finds a way, I guess." Jeremy blinks at her, confused. "Jurassic Park," the girl says, pointing to Jeremy's pajama shirt. "Thought you might have been a fan." He blinks down at the large dinosaur on his shirt, then back up. "Oh no, that was my mom's," he confesses, feeling himself blush. A deep man's voice interrupts. "Iris, did you break something again?" I heard shrieking. Jeremy feels a strange chill run down his spine when the man steps into view. He's impossibly tall and thin, with copper-colored hair that sticks up at odd angles and eyes so green they seem to glow in the dim light. "Who's this?" the man says, his head tilting slightly. "A client," the girl Iris explains, who's deceptively not a Jurassic Park fan. "What's a Jurassic Park?" the man asks, squinting his eyes. Iris gasps in outrage. "Okay, he's 8, so he's forgiven," she begins. "I'm 10, Jeremy butts in, going perfectly ignored. "But you, sir, have absolutely no excuse." "What's your name?" the man interrupts, turning to Jeremy. "Jeremy Davis." "Great, I'm Adrian." "This is Iris," the man points to the blonde girl. "Now that we've met, you may go." Jeremy looks around uneasily. "Go where?" he asks nervously. "I don't even know how I got here." Adrian gives Iris a glance. "What?" she tells him. He's in his pajamas. Obviously, he didn't go through the front door. Adrian sighs, rubbing his eyelids. "Okay, kid," Iris says, turning back to Jeremy. "Let me break it down for you. You're in a magic shop." Adrian here practices magic. "Magic," Jeremy gasps, curiosity overriding his nervousness briefly. "What type of magic? Wishes?" Adrian replies like this somehow makes sense. "What? I grant wishes," the man explains. "The shop merely provides a meeting place." Wishes, Jeremy's eyes widen. Like any wish, pretty much, yes, Adrian confirms. People like you arrive here when they truly desire something. Something they cannot obtain through ordinary means. So, I wish to be here, not precisely. You wished for a solution to a problem that seems insurmountable. Adrian's green eyes hold Jeremy's. And here you are. Jeremy thinks about his mom, about Eva and Mason, about the impossible distance between their worlds. Can you really grant any wish? There are limitations, Adrian says carefully. And consequences, he means there's a price, Iris interjects. A big one. He takes whatever you value most. Iris, Adrian sighs, perhaps a bit of tact. Whatever, Iris hops off the desk. Kid, listen, people come here desperate for things. Adrian grants their wishes, but in exchange they lose what matters most to them, and it's never what they expect. Jeremy frowns. Like if I wished for $1 million, you'd take something important from me. Yes, Adrian nods, and it's rarely a material possession. Usually it's like your ability to love or your memories of your dead grandma or something equally tragic, Iris adds. So think twice before making a wish and then don't make one. Go home. Jeremy considers this a wish that could change everything, but at a terrible cost. I want to bring Eva back, he says slowly, and her dad. I want my mom to be happy again. Ah, Adrian's expression softens slightly. A family matter. You got that from his vague explanation? Iris whistles. Good on you, man. Adrian grins discreetly. Mason, that's Eva's dad. He left because he's afraid, Jeremy explains. Have them go to couples therapy, Iris offers. Jeremy shakes his head. He's a werewolf and my mom's human. He thinks it's too dangerous for them to be together. Adrian and Iris share a look. He's not entirely wrong, Adrian notes. Shifters and humans rarely mix well, but they love each other, Jeremy insists, and Eva's my best friend. That's nice, Adrian comments, tone bland. But living among shifters could easily kill you. Jeremy stares at his hands, thinking hard. Eva did say a bite would kill us. His head snaps up, eyes wide with realization. Wait, could I wish for us to be werewolves too? Me and my mom. The room goes still. Adrian's face remains carefully blank, but something in his posture changes, becomes more alert. You could, he says reluctantly, but you shouldn't, Jeremy. Remember, I would take what's most precious to you in return. Jeremy opens his mouth to protest, but Iris intervenes. Look, kid, she says, leaning forward. Couldn't your mom find another nice single dad? Plenty of other fish in the sea and all that. Jeremy shakes his head firmly. No, she can't. She's loved Eva's dad since forever. It's true love. Would you give up on your true love? He asks, staring Iris in the eyes. She clears her throat awkwardly. And besides, Jeremy adds, there's only one Eva. He looks up at Adrian, determination hardening his features. To his surprise, the magician kneels down to eye level with him. All right, he says. Then I will tell you the price in advance. Beside him, Iris takes in a sharp breath. Adrian, she protests nervously, making Jeremy furrow his brows. It's fine, Adrian interrupts, giving her a look. He turns back to Jeremy, stares him down, and then, what you value most, Jeremy Davis, is the hope of meeting your father someday. The words hang heavy in the air between them, his father. Jeremy swallows hard, thinking of the shadowy figure whose absence has shaped so much of his life with more questions than answers. But he left before I was born, Jeremy murmurs. Nevertheless, you've held on to the hope that someday he might want to know you. Adrian's green eyes are eerily penetrating. If you make this wish, that possibility vanishes forever. Jeremy swallows. He didn't think he'd feel a sense of loss over never knowing his absent father. But there it is. Except on top of the blurry image of some unknown man comes Eva's sharp grin. His mother's warmth, the feel of her arms around him, and her joy, all of their joy these past few days when Eva and Mason had still been with them. I want to make the wish, Jeremy murmurs. I don't need a dad who doesn't want me. I need my mom to be happy. I want us to have a real family, one who loves us back. Adrian nods resolutely. I could make it so that if your mother chooses, a bite from a shifter would transform her safely rather than kill her. The same would apply to you. There would be no obstacle preventing you two from being with your shifter friends. Jeremy beams, but Adrian goes on. However, he holds up a warning finger, you might want to discuss this with her first. Ensure that she and Mason truly wish to reconcile. They will, Jeremy says. I know they will. He takes a deep breath. I wish that my mom and I could safely be turned into wolf shifters if we wanted to be with Eva and Mason. For a moment, nothing happens. Then Adrian closes his eyes, a shudder running through his too-thin frame. The shadows in the shop seem to deepen, to coil around him like hungry serpents. When he opens his eyes again, they glow with an unearthly light. Chapter 14. Quinn wakes to silence. Jeremy is already at school and the bed feels too big, too empty. The space where Mason once slept is cold. She pulls his pillow close, breathing in the fading scent of pine and winter storms, grief tightening in her chest. She rolls onto her back, staring at the ceiling, replaying Mason's departure. The the terror in his eyes as he scooped up Fangs like it had been his all along, the way he muttered about mistakes, the stiff set of his shoulders as he drove away. Something had been wrong, panic that went deeper than anger, and Quinn can't stop asking what scared him so badly. What was he hiding? With a sigh, she drags herself out of bed. Her reflection tells the story. Dark circles, tangled hair, a hollow kind of exhaustion. She scrubs her face, trying to summon a sense of normal before heading downstairs to face the day. But when she opens her door, she freezes. Fangs is there, sitting on the threshold, her sandy fur glowing in the morning light. The wolf tilts her head, amber eyes watching Quinn with an intelligence that seems more pronounced than ever. "Oh my God," Quinn breathes, joy flooding through her. "Fangs, you're back." She drops to her knees, throwing her arms around the wolf's neck. Fangs allows the embrace, her tail giving a tentative wag. "Jeremy's going to be so happy," Quinn says, pulling back to scratch behind the wolf's ears. "He's at school right now." But Fangs makes a soft sound in her throat, not quite a growl, more like disagreement. Then, to Quinn's astonishment, the wolf pulls away and trots purposefully into the apartment. "Hey, wait," Quinn calls, following. "I just told you Jeremy isn't," but Fangs isn't looking for Jeremy. Instead, the wolf heads straight to his room, disappearing inside. Quinn hears the sound of a closet door opening, followed by rustling. "Fangs, what are you doing?" When she reaches Jeremy's doorway, Quinn watches as Fangs emerges from the closet with one of Jeremy's oversized sweaters clamped firmly in her jaws. The wolf looks directly at Quinn, then Quinn screams. Where the wolf had been standing, there's now a small girl with wild red hair and bright blue eyes, clutching Jeremy's sweater to her chest like a makeshift dress. The transformation happens so quickly, so impossibly, that Quinn's mind simply refuses to process it. "Please don't be afraid," the girl says quickly. Quinn backs away, her brain desperately trying to make sense of what she's seeing. "You're not hallucinating," the girl assures her, taking a cautious step forward. "My name is Eva." Quinn's legs threaten to give out. "Eva, as in Mason's his daughter?" "Yes," the girl Eva nods enthusiastically. "I'm going crazy," Quinn whispers, sliding down to sit on the floor. "You're not crazy," Eva says, sitting cross-legged in front of her. "You can ask Jeremy when he gets home." "Jeremy," Quinn's voice cracks. "You've spoken to him before?" "Well, of course," Eva says. "I stayed with you guys for a while." Quinn presses her hands to her temples, trying to process this revelation. "You're telling me that all this time Fangs wasn't a wolf. She was you, a little girl who can turn into a wolf, and that my son has known this entire time." "Yes," Eva confirms. Quinn stares at her, memories flooding back, how intelligent Fangs had seemed, how attached Jeremy had become to the wolf, how naturally Eva had fit into their lives. "My dad said it was dangerous," Eva continues, her expression turning serious, "and I promised him I wouldn't come back, but I had to say goodbye properly, and thank you." "Thank me," Quinn repeats, still dazed. Eva nods. "For letting me stay, for being so kind to me, for making me feel like I could have had a real mom." Her voice wavers on the last word, and Quinn's heart clenches despite her confusion. "I would have loved for you to be my mom," Eva whispers, tears welling in her blue eyes. "And I think your paintings are beautiful. In another life, maybe you could have taught me." The tears spill over and instinct overtakes shock. Quinn reaches out, gathering the crying child into her arms. Eva clings to her, her small body shaking with sobs. "SHH, it's okay," Quinn murmurs, stroking the girl's hair. "It's going to be okay." As Eva cries herself out, Quinn's mind races. "Does your father know?" she asks when Eva's sobs have quieted to sniffles. "That you can, that you're—" "Oh yes," Eva nods, pulling back to wipe her eyes. "He can do it too." Quinn feels the world tilt again. "Mason is a shifter like you." Eva bites her lip. "Please don't tell him I told you. He'd be so mad, but I just wanted to explain why we had to leave." Quinn struggles to form words. Mason, her Mason, can transform into a wolf. The man she'd loved, who'd held her and kissed her and then left without explanation twice, had been hiding this the whole time. "So, you've really been Fangs?" Quinn manages. "Living with us all this time?" Eva nods, a shy smile appearing. "But why is it dangerous?" Quinn asks, trying to understand. "Dangerous for who?" Eva's expression grows solemn. "If a werewolf bites a human, it kills them." "That's what happened to my Uncle Elliot." Quinn's breath catches. "Elliot, he bit someone to protect a friend," Eva explains quietly. "The human died and Elliot was executed for it. It broke my grandfather's heart and he died too. That's when my dad had to become alpha and leave you." The pieces fall into place with devastating clarity. Mason hadn't chosen his family over her. He'd been thrust into leadership during a tragedy, terrified of repeating his brother's mistake. "But he really didn't want to leave," Eva insists, seeing the understanding dawn in Quinn's eyes. "He loves you. He's been so sad without you." Quinn struggles to make sense of it all. Werewolves, executions, a hidden world woven into her own. It's overwhelming, but one thing is clear. She's uncovered something vital about Mason. Something that explains the shadows in his eyes, the distance he kept even in their closest moments. and somehow that knowledge softens her anger. The betrayal she's carried for 10 years shifts into something deeper: empathy, understanding, and a sorrow for what they both lost to forces beyond their control. Eva's eyes fill with fresh tears and Quinn pulls her close. "I'd like to say goodbye to your father too," she says gently. "Let me take you home." Eva sniffs. "You promise not to tell him I told you?" "I promise." They're just standing up when there's a knock at the door. Quinn opens it and finds herself face to face with Mason, his amber eyes wide with shock, and beside him stands Jeremy, looking both nervous and determined. For a moment, nobody moves. They just stare at each other. Quinn and Mason locked in a gaze that holds too many emotions to name, while Jeremy and Eva grin at each other like co-conspirators. "I have your kid," Mason says finally, his voice rough. "And I have yours," Quinn replies weakly. They continue staring, the air between them crackling with unspoken feelings. Then, simultaneously, they both begin. "I shouldn't have left the way I did," Mason says. They both freeze. "I think I understand why you did," Quinn says quietly. Mason's face tightens. "I don't think you do." "She does, Dad," Eva pipes up. "I told her." "What?" Mason looks between his daughter and Quinn, more confused than angry. Quinn reaches out, taking his hand and squeezing it gently. "Is it true?" she asks, her voice barely above a whisper. Mason searches her face, understanding what she's asking. His shoulders slump slightly. "Yes," he admits. "It's true," Quinn nods slowly, the weight of his secrets finally making sense. The fear, the distance, the sudden departures, it all stems from this enormous truth he's been carrying alone. "So many times I wanted to tell you," Mason says, his voice breaking. "I was going to leave my pack, my family, everything for you. But then Elliot," Quinn finishes softly. "Yes." Mason's grip on her hand tightens. "It's delicate enough telling a human about our kind, but to tell you and then just leave you, He stops, swallows hard. "But mostly, Quinn, I just didn't trust myself with you. I still don't, especially now that you have a child, because it's too risky." Tears spill down Quinn's cheeks as the full implications hit her. She doesn't want to risk Jeremy's life, no matter how much she loves Mason. "Well, about that," Jeremy interrupts, stepping forward with a confidence Quinn's never seen before. "I actually fixed it." "What?" Quinn and Mason say in unison. "You fixed it," Eva shouts, her face lighting up with immediate belief and excitement. Jeremy nods, a small smile playing at his lips. "I met this guy, a magician named Adrian. He grants wishes but takes something important in return. I wish that Mom and I could be turned safely into werewolves if we wanted to." "Oh my God," Eva screams, literally bouncing with joy. "Jeremy, you genius," she says. "You made a conditional life-altering wish to some unknown dark magician without telling us." Mason's voice rises with a mixture of horror and something else, something that sounds suspiciously like paternal concern. "Well, yeah," Jeremy shrugs, "but it's great because now we can be a family. Mom can be with you and I know you love him, so I did it for you." Quinn's mind reels with the implications. Her 10-year-old son has made a magical bargain to solve their supernatural relationship problems. It's absurd, terrifying, and somehow perfectly Jeremy. She and Mason share a look, just a glance, but it carries everything. Love, hope, the promise of possibilities she'd never dared imagine. A warmth spreads through her chest, fragile and wonderful. But above all this newfound hope, there's one overwhelming emotion: absolute, unadulterated anger. "Jeremy Davis," Quinn exclaims, her voice carrying the full force of maternal fury. "You are in very big trouble." Chapter 15, "Jeremy, I can't believe they grounded you," Eva complains, pacing across Jeremy's room. "You literally solved all our problems. You're a literal hero. Parents are so ungrateful." Jeremy shrugs from his perch on the windowsill. "It's okay, it was worth it. Eva shouldn't be here. She was supposed to stay downstairs while the adults talked, but she'd snuck up the moment no one was looking." Now they sit together, watching their parents in the garden below. Mason and Quinn stand close, hands intertwined, heads bent together as they whisper. They look happy, Jeremy thinks, or at least they're getting there. Happiness is complicated for adults, but this seems like a good start. "You think we're going to stay together from now on?" Eva asks softly. "I hope so," Jeremy grins. "Can't wait to be a shifter." "Oh, I'll teach you everything," Eva bounces excitedly. "How to track sense, how to run super fast." Her excitement fades suddenly, like a light being switched off. She goes very still, her usual animated expression replaced by something more serious. "Jeremy," she starts, then stops. For a long moment, she just stares at her hands, picking at a loose thread on Jeremy's bedspread. "Then the magician, when you made the wish," she finally asks, her voice barely above a whisper. "What did you trade for it? You said he takes what matters most to you." Jeremy's quiet for a moment, watching a bird hop along the garden fence below. "The possibility of seeing my father again." Eva's eyes widen. Genuine shock replacing her hesitation. Her mouth opens, closes, opens again, but she swallows hard. "That's your father, Jeremy. Doesn't it make you sad?" "A little," Jeremy admits. "But I guess he's not really my father, is he?" He left, he watches the garden below. My mom's my parent, he concludes, though I do hope one day I do know what having a dad feels like. He trails off, still watching Mason laugh at something Quinn says. Eva's quiet for a long moment, then throws herself at Jeremy in a fierce hug. "Thank you," she whispers. He hugs her back just as tight. When they look out the window again, their parents are kissing. "You," they chorus, then dissolve into giggles. "We actually did it," Eva whispers, her eyes shining. Jeremy grins. They really did. Epilogue. The garden behind the inn is unrecognizable from a year ago. Twinkling lights wrap every branch. White roses bloom impossibly late for October, and rows of chairs face the arch where Quinn just pledged forever to the man she never truly stopped loving. Now, as the pack celebrates their alpha's wedding with music and dancing, Quinn finds herself alone with Mason in their bedroom, nerves thrumming for an entirely different reason. "You sure about this?" Mason asks for the 100th time, pacing. His shirt is unbuttoned, his hair tousled from anxious fingers. Quinn steps in, placing her hands on his chest. The gold band on her finger catches the moonlight. "We've discussed this endlessly, Mason, I'm sure." A year of healing, of rebuilding trust, introducing Jeremy to pack life and letting old wounds mend. They've chosen this future. "But what if we met with the magician again and he assured it would work?" she reminds him. "You even spoke to others who used his magic. It's going to be okay." His amber eyes darken. "Quinn, I can't bear the thought of hurting you." She cups his face. "This is for us, for our family. Jeremy's already asking when it's his turn. Eva's planned our first run together." The mention of their children softens him. Jeremy and Eva are inseparable, true siblings. Jeremy thrives under Mason's attention, growing bolder with each shared interest, while Eva and Quinn spend hours painting in the studio, wild with creativity. They're already a family. This is just the final step. "I love you," Quinn whispers. "Trust in that." Mason closes his eyes. When he opens them, the wolf glimmers behind them. "I love you too, more than I ever thought possible." He kisses her, deep, tender, full of promises. When he pulls back, fangs show and his eyes glow gold. Quinn lies back, throat exposed. Her heart races with anticipation, not fear. "Do it," she breathes. He nuzzles her neck before biting. The pain steals her breath, fire in her veins, bones shifting, muscles tearing and reforming. Mason's voice soothes her through it all. Then, transformation. She blinks, now on all fours. Her body is powerful, covered in thick fur. Every sense is heightened. The scent of cake, the skitter of mice, music vibrating through the floor. A soft whine escapes. In the mirror, she sees a silver-streaked wolf with Quinn's eyes. Her tail flicks instinctively, expressing emotions she hadn't even processed yet. Notably, strangely, it's like she can suddenly feel Mason, not just beside her, but inside her mind. His love washes over her like warm sunlight, along with echoes of his fear, his joy, his overwhelming relief that she survived the change. "What is this?" she thinks. "The mate bond," he answers. "We'll complete it later. First, you need to run." They slip into the night, two wolves racing beneath the full moon. Quinn revels in the freedom, Mason beside her. When they return, breathless and glowing with moonlight, they shift back. Quinn stands before Mason, the bond pulsing between them. "How do you feel?" he asks. "Alive," she breathes, "more alive than I've ever been." She steps closer, fingertips tracing his chest, hearts pounding in sync. "Quinn," he murmurs, catching her hand, "we don't have to." "I want to," she interrupts. "I want all of you, Mason, no more barriers, just us." She kisses him slow and deep, then pulls back with a glint in her eyes. "My turn," she whispers. She kisses down his neck. He shudders, groans. His hands tangle in her hair. "Do it," he breathes. She bites, tasting copper and magic. He gasps, part pain, part pleasure. The bond ignites, thoughts and emotions merging. "I love you," she thinks, feeling his answering flood of devotion. When she pulls back, Mason cups her face, eyes glowing with fierce love. "Forever," he says, sealing it with another kiss. "Forever," she echoes. Downstairs, Jeremy and Eva laugh, the pack still celebrating. Her family, her pack, her future. Quinn Davis, Luna of the Pinehaven pack, smiles against her mate's shoulder. They finally found their happily ever after. If you enjoyed this heartfelt story of love, family, secrets, and second chances, please take a moment to subscribe right now. Many listeners enjoy the full story but forget to hit that subscribe button, and they end up missing future tales just like this one. Subscribing ensures you'll never miss a new release, and it helps me continue creating these emotional shifter romances for you. What do you think? Should Quinn and Mason's story continue with a sequel focused on Jeremy and Eva's adventures as young shifters? Drop your answer in the comments below, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next. Thank you for listening. I can't wait to share more stories with you.